Hey everybody, my name is Dr. Scott Giacomucci. I'm the director and founder of the Phoenix Center for Experiential Trauma Therapy in Media, Pennsylvania. And today I'm really excited to introduce you to my newly published book, Trauma-Informed Principles in Group Therapy, Psychodrama, and Organizations, Action Methods for Leadership. So this book published in April 2023. So it's a new book on trauma-informed care across different domains. So my vision for this book is really to create a resource where practitioners and leaders of different kinds, especially in the group therapy world and in human services, can develop a better understanding of trauma-informed. Feels like to me that trauma-informed has become this like catchy marketing word that everybody's using and putting on their websites and putting on their brochures. And I feel like it's important that we have a common definition and understanding of what exactly trauma-informed care is. So the book is largely based on SAMHSA's definition of trauma-informed care and really builds off of their publication, SAMHSA being the Substance Abuse Mental Health Service. So sections of the book are really written for group workers and highlight the importance of integrating the 6 trauma-informed care principles into group work of all its different kinds, particularly group therapy. So the book not only talks about trauma-informed care, but also trauma-focused service, directly treating PTSD. So I think group workers of all kind will find this book helpful. It offers a bunch of action methods from the field of sociometry and psychodrama that can help you liven up your groups a bit in trauma-informed ways. And then another section of the book really focuses on the importance of trauma-informed leadership for educators, for organizational leaders, for really leaders of all kinds. In that section, I really emphasize the importance of ethical leadership, how trauma is so often a violation of ethics, and therefore, as leaders, as group therapists, as psychodramatists, as supervisors and directors, we really have to be practicing in ethical ways. We have to consider the potentials of re-traumatization and actively work to resist re-traumatization. So the book really approaches organizational leadership through the lens of SAMHSA's trauma-informed principles, but also through the lens of group work, considering an organization essentially is a group of human beings. And so all the good theoretical information, philosophies, and even many of the interventions available to us as group therapists are also applicable for us as organizations. So looking at the hidden group in the organization. So the book also has a big emphasis on psychodrama. As a psychodramatist, how could I not bring my whole self into writing this book? So there's a ton of examples of different action methods and experiential processes that you can modify and adapt for any topic, any setting, any group, any organization, to make your organizational meetings, your supervision sessions, your classrooms, your therapy groups, your community sessions more engaging, more lively, and more effective. In the book, I really go through the history of psychodrama and look at psychodrama theories and philosophies as trauma-informed theories and philosophy. Even though psychodrama was created over 100 years ago, long before PTSD was recognized as a diagnosis, and 90 years before trauma-informed care was really solidified. There's lots of parallel processes and important connections to be made between psychodrama's theories and philosophies and modern-day trauma theories and philosophy. I think and hope that this book will be a resource for organizational leaders, for educators, for group therapists, and for psychodramatists alike. Trauma therapies and psychodrama, group therapies, leadership, these are all really powerful tools that we have and roles that involve stepping into positions of power. And as such, there's a real potential for causing harm if we're not careful and thoughtful. So it's important that we're practicing in trauma-informed ways and that we're leading. So I dedicated this book to group psychotherapists, psychodramatists, and organizational leaders everywhere. May we never forget our sacred responsibility and professional calling to use our knowledge and power towards the greatest good of our clients, students, colleagues, and humankind. And just to give you a quick overview of the book, the first chapter really goes over an introduction to trauma-informed care and trauma-informed leadership. The second chapter goes through presenting psychodrama and group work as trauma-informed philosophies. Chapter 3 is really looking at psychodrama as a treatment for trauma, trauma-focused psychodrama, as an effective treatment for PTSD. In Chapter 4, I present a handful of sociometry processes, experiential group processes, that can be used in trauma-informed ways in any setting. Chapters 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 all go through the 6 trauma-informed principles outlined by SAMHSA one at a time and really present them and their utility in group work, in psychodrama, and in organizations as a whole. Chapter 11 is entirely devoted to organization, looking at what it means to be a trauma-informed organization and presenting content related to vicarious trauma and how we can help our organizations, our staff, our employees prevent vicarious trauma and burnout while cultivating vicarious post-traumatic growth. And then the final chapter, Chapter 12, as titled Towards a Trauma-Informed Ethics of Leadership in Group Therapy, Psychodrama, and Organization. So that chapter is largely devoted to ethics and to leadership specifically. So I really hope that you'll find this book useful. In the acknowledgments, I start off by acknowledging all of the clients, students, and trainees who've been harmed and who've been re-traumatized in group therapy by psychodrama and by organization. So this is something that has really shocked me coming into the field as a younger professional, the amount of unethical practice in our field, the amount of clients that are harmed by organizational policies, the amount of staff harmed by organizational policies, the number of clients that seek out trauma therapy or seek out a more general mental health or substance use services and are asking for help and end up experiencing more harm while trying to receive. I really hope that this book will help us as professionals prevent causing any more harm to our clients. I'm really excited to share that Sandy Bloom wrote the foreword for the book, and on the back of the book you'll find a quote from Sandy among other esteemed colleagues in the field. Sandy writes that Scott's book is an important and necessary addition to the field about the specific aspects of psychodrama to a trauma-informed knowledge base on the uses of the dramatic arts in treatment, as well as the implications of this work for organizations and for leaders. So I hope you'll be as excited about this book as I am and as Sandy is, and I really do hope that you find it helpful in your work. I really tried to make this book appealing to group workers of all kinds, from group therapists, social group workers, group counselors, group psychologists, group consultants, trainers and facilitators, coaches, activists, educators. So I really wrote it in a way where the concepts and the processes can be applicable in different settings. The organizational pieces really pool information from all organizational industries. So it's not just applicable for organizational leaders in the mental health field. I think organizational leaders in all fields will be able to pull information from this book and helpful tips and tricks that can help you in your organization. The other aspect of the book that I want to highlight is that I really tried to blend a mix of research, of theory, of history, while really emphasizing practical tips, practical tools, practical group processes, and include a bunch of personal reflection within the book. So I think and hope that this book will appeal to practitioners foremost, but also to academics and researchers, to folks that are interested in theory and in history, and to leaders of all kinds, to educators, to students. Try to make the book as broad as possible and to translate some of the complicated concepts into language that was easy for anybody to understand. So the book really focuses on practitioners, but also uses research, uses theory to back up some of the suggestions. Within the book, there's dozens of figures to help depict some of the concepts and ideas, and there's dozens of reflective questions that I tried to include throughout each section and multiple times throughout each chapter. And as you're reading this book, I really encourage you to pause and to reflect on each question. That reading a book on trauma-informed leadership or trauma-informed care doesn't make us trauma-informed. That we really have to be critically reflecting on how we're implementing these principles, these practices into our work, into our organizations, into our policies, into our sense of self as professionals and as colleagues. So I really encourage you to give some thought on the personal reflections throughout the book. And again, I just really hope that this book is helpful in your work and helps us as a field best serve the clients, students, and employees that we work with. If you found the book helpful, I really encourage you to consider leaving an honest Amazon review about the book. Leaving an Amazon review is probably the most helpful thing you could possibly do for an author. Your reviews help make the book more visible for people when they're searching for trauma-informed books or psychodrama books or group therapy books or leadership books. And it really gives me feedback about what you found helpful. I encourage you to reach out to me and let me know what you're interested in learning about next as I think about what I might write about for the next book or what videos I might make next for the YouTube channel here. So thank you for your commitment to ongoing professional development and to trauma-informed care. And I look forward to running into you in the field.